Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's been so long, I missed you guys. So today's video, as you can tell by the title, is just going to be me showing you how I did my ID makeup. So if you want your ID makeup to come out this bomb, then just keep on watching. Okay, so when it comes to how I did my makeup for my ID picture, if you're a girl who is not into like a full beat, then you can just modify what I'm doing in this tutorial. You want to use a primer that is going to give you a little bit of a matte finish. You can use like the e.l.f. Power Grip primer. And so while that sets, I'm going to start with my eyebrows. I'm going to use this dark brown pencil. This is a lip liner, but to be honest with y'all, I don't believe in buying like $20 brow pencils. I think that's so stupid. So I just use my lip liner as my brow pencil or vice versa. You don't want your brows to look too harsh or too blocky, but you also want them to be able to show up in the picture. So I'm just going to fill in the sparse spaces that need to be filled in. Then you want to take a really flat concealer brush. I'm going to use a lighter concealer, but not one that's too light, because I don't want that really light harsh line under my eyebrows, if y'all know what I mean. So I'm going to come back to this in a second. Now that my primer has pretty much set, I'm going to go in with my foundation. And I can finally use this again because I got a tan really fast. So this is the NARS Radiant Longwear foundation in the shade Caracas. And I'm going to start applying it. I'm a brush girl over beauty blenders all day. Now we're going to go back to the eyes. For this, you want to take a shade that is your skin tone or a little bit darker than your skin tone. So I'm going to take this shade in the Juvia's Place Warrior 2 palette. And I'm basically just going to put this all over my lid. Yeah, I like to leave a little bit of space where my brow bone is, just to add dimension. So it looks like I have a little bit of a highlight, but I make sure I blend out the concealer in the front of my brow, so it's not that stark concealer line, because I don't like that. So after I put that on, I'm going to take my Fenty Beauty highlight. It's the Diamond Bomb in the shade How Many Carats, and I'm just going to put some in my inner corner. Not a lot, because obviously this is silver, so when you take your ID picture, it's going to look really light and it's going to translate more white. But I just put a little bit in my inner corner and then the very inside of my eyelid, and this is just to kind of brighten my eyes. Concealer and contour is where you really want to focus everything, because this is going to add the most dimension to your face, so your face doesn't look flat. I feel like when I took my ID picture, I probably could have done a little more contour. So that's what I'm going to do this time. And you just want to contour your face based off your face shape. So I have an oval shaped face, so the way I contour my face is probably not going to be the same as the way you contour yours if you don't have the same face shape as mine. And for my concealer, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade Light Sand. So what you want to do is you either want to use a concealer that's darker and use more of it, or use a lighter concealer and use a little bit less of it. So I'm going to use a lighter concealer and just use a little bit less. And you always want your concealer to set before you blend it. And then I'm just going to put it at the high points of my face. I accidentally got some on my fingers, so. And while all that's setting, I'm going to do my blush. So this is the Rare Beauty Liquid Blush in the shade Joy. And I would not suggest using like a really light pink blush for your ID picture, because it's probably not going to translate as well. I would use pink, but just use a darker pink. I'm going to start off just by blending that out carefully, making sure that I don't touch that contour I placed down. And I like to put my blush up here. I used to put my blush on my cheeks, but I realized because my face is oval and I already have round cheeks, that putting my blush further up accentuates my face more. So that's why I place my blush where I place it. So now I'm going to go ahead and blend out my contour because I don't want that to set too long, because then I'm not going to be able to blend it. So when you blend out your contour, sometimes you'll see people go in circles like that. Don't do that. You can go in circles when you're applying your bronzer, but contour is supposed to create shadows. Like, you have to think about what contour and highlight actually do. And the contour is to place shadows on your face so that you have more dimension and so your facial features are more defined. So when I blend it, you're not going to see me doing this. You're just going to see me making this motion, and I'm not blending it down. I'm keeping it where it is as much as possible, and I'm just stamping it into my skin and blending up as I go. And I'm going to contour my big ass forehead. And I got a headband wig going, so I can't lift my headband up. And then to blend out the highlight, I'm going to take this little tapered concealer brush. This is the Sony ZV-1 Beauty Blender. So I'm just going to start blending out the concealer, but I'm not going to bring it up yet. I want to blend it out as much as possible because you don't want too much concealer directly in your under eye, especially if you have like lines on your under eyes, which some of y'all don't. You're God's favorite if you don't. And then I'm gonna go in with the brush. Now I'm gonna bronze. So the same shade that I used for my eyeshadow, I like to use to bronze. I place my bronzer in between my concealer and my contour. So I'm going to take my Maybelline Fit Me pressed powder in the shade 330 Toffee. If y'all cannot tell, I love this pressed powder. I need to buy another one. And I'm just going to take this powder puff. And I like this powder puff because it's triangle shaped, so it really gets into your inner corner. I'm going to take my one side setting powder. You want to make sure you have a pressed powder that's a half a shade lighter, and then you also want to have a brightening setting powder. Okay, so I did my other eye the exact same way. So I'm going to go back in with this powder blush. It is the Mini Orgasm Edge Blush from NARS. Now I'm going to go in with mascara. For my ID picture, I had on lash clusters, but they're the Broadway brand DIY lash clusters. So this is the Essence Lash Princess mascara. This is my go-to mascara when I don't want to put on lashes, but I want my lashes to show up. So if you don't like wearing lashes, whether it's strips or clusters, or you don't like lash extensions, I would definitely suggest getting a really good mascara that you know has volume and it adds length, so that way your lashes look like they're there on camera. So I'll use it horizontally at the base of my lashes for that thickness, and then vertically for the length. Now the important part, which is the lip combo. And this is what pissed me off when I went to go take my ID picture, because usually y'all know the DMV is crazy. So I was thinking I was going to have a little bit of time before they called me. And as soon as I walked in, they called my numbers.
Can I get a cheeseburger, a 4-piece, and... Okay, pull up, home. I didn't get to finish.
So I didn't have time to fix my lip combo. So that's what I regret. But I still had lip gloss on, so it wasn't like my lips were dry. I just didn't have my lip liner on. So I'm going to take the same liner that I use for my eyebrows. This is the Ruby Kisses Auto Lip Liner in the shade Dark Brown. Then I'm going to go in with this Morphe gloss in the shade Attention. You can use any gloss you want. My go-to glosses just always happen to be pink. And then I'm going to go in with the Fenty Heat Gloss in the shade Lavender Savage. And I'm going to put that over top. This is the final look. Obviously, like I said, modify it. If you want to use less product, do that. If you want to wear lashes, do that, because I wore lashes. I just didn't feel like it today. If you use this tutorial and your ID picture comes out bomb, send it to me, at me in it, drop it in the community tab or whatever. I'm gonna make a post for it. And yeah, I love you guys. See you guys in the next one. Bye.